What's up, peeps? That's right, we're already back. We now have the top 5 worst Friday the 13th films. As always, I'm your host, Lee Benz. This is the AEW Insider, so let's get right into it. Number 5 of the worst Friday the 13th films are Jason Takes Manhattan. This one is about a boat full of graduating high school students. They're headed to Manhattan on a senior trip. They ended up having a stowaway who was named Jason Voorhees, so that's not good. This one, out of all the Friday the 13th films, had the lowest box office take of the entire series. This is another hate it or love it entry in the series. Some people love it, some people hate it. I do love it. It is great, but it's on the worst list because it's supposed to be Jason Goes to Manhattan, and he's only in Manhattan for probably a little over 10 minutes in the entire film. The word is that it costs way too much to shoot in New York, so most of it was shot in Vancouver, British Columbia, Los Angeles, and they shot the finale of the film in Manhattan. The original advertising for this movie featured Jason Voorhees slashing through the I Love New York logo with a knife. It was later retracted after the New York City Tourism Committee filed a complaint against Paramount Pictures. Some cool kills in this movie is when Jason is actually boxing this kid. This kid in his high school was the #1 boxer. He's the #1 jock of the school. So him and Jason end up on a rooftop together one-on-one. They start boxing. So they start beating the crap out. Well, the guy actually starts beating the crap out of Jason. He literally punches Jason from one end of the roof to the other end of the roof. At the end, his hands are all bloody, his hands are broken, his knuckles are broken, he's all out of breath. He tells Jason to take one shot. That's all Jason needed was one shot. He legit punches the guy's fucking head off. It flies off the roof and lands in an open dumpster on the street. It's fucking crazy. Another cool kill is a guy is in a sauna. Jason sneaks in and pushes a hot coal through the man's chest. And he also kills somebody with a guitar. There's some so-so kills in this one. But that's number 5 on the list, and it is very, very well hated. Number 4 on the list for the worst Friday the 13th films of all time is actually Friday the 13th. It's Freddy vs. Jason. It's nearly been 10 years since Freddy Krueger terrorized people in their dreams. The townsfolk want to keep him erased from their memory. Freddy still has one more plan on getting back on Elm Street. He actually resurrects Jason Voorhees and sends him off to kill. The more bodies which fall to the ground, the stronger in which Freddy becomes. This is until Freddy realizes that Jason isn't going to step aside easily, and he has to take Jason down himself because Jason's going to keep killing. This one is the ones that fans have waited for forever, and they still want to see their favorite Hollywood killers, other ones, go against each other on a big screen. Depends on who you talk to. It depends on who won this one. Me, I'm a Jason fan. The ending clearly showed me that Jason won. Others say that it was a tie. I guess it's in the eye of the beholder. It has a somewhat cool cast, but some dumb choices were made also. Some of them look way too old to be teens. The vibe of the movie is cool though. If you want to see 2 of your faves go at it, this is a must watch, but it does have some very bad acting. Some cool kills in this one is a guy actually gets done having relationships with his girlfriend. She's in the shower. Jason actually takes a machete and stabs him repeatedly in his back on the bed. When he's done killing the guy, he actually takes the bed from one end to the other and folds it in half like a V. And the guy's body is actually inside of it, folded with the bed. It's so fucking legit. Also, there is a scene with a stoner. He gets all high and he falls asleep. So Freddy actually looks like a caterpillar. He looks like Freddy, but it's like the caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland, and he's smoking weed with the cat. That's a cool kill, too. The CGI and the blood CGI in this movie fucking suck, but just the thought of it and all that is very, very, very cool. So, I mean, if you're a fan of Freddy and Jason, you gotta watch this one, but it's definitely number 4 on the worst of the series. Number 3 on my list on the worst of the Friday the 13th series is Jason X. This one starts out in the year 2008. Jason Voorhees is cryogenically frozen in a government facility in Camp Crystal Lake. He's frozen along with a scientist named Rowan. Many centuries later, in the year 2455, Earth is uninhabitable, and humans have moved to another planet. It's known as Earth 2. However, a team of students actually go down to other planets, to explore, and they come upon Jason and that scientist Rowan. So they bring them on their ship. Both of them get thawed out from being frozen, and then shit hits the fan. This one is really, really bad, but it's so much fucking fun. I mean, whoever made it had a lot of balls to put Jason in space, but to try to pull off a space movie in that day and age with a real, real shitty budget, it's fucking crazy. But whoever the set designer is and the props designers, they need a big raise after this film. Or either that or they sold their souls to the devil or some shit. Because the set pieces and the sets, they look great, honestly. For a cheesy horror movie and a budget, the spaceship Grendel is fucking the bomb. It's just super cheesy, and it's in space. Some of the good kills in this one are some of the best kills in the entire series, especially one of the kills in this one is one of the best kills in the entire series. Jason actually takes a woman's face and he drowns her in a vat of liquid nitrogen. He then pulls her head up. Her face is completely frozen from the liquid nitrogen, and he just smashes her face into a million little frozen pieces. It kicks so much anus. And even though it wasn't real, in the future, they do have a virtual reality, of course, but theirs is like the X-Men's Danger Room, like it's legit. So they try tricking Jason in it. They send him back to Camp Crystal Lake in a virtual reality room, and there are two lesbians in sleeping bags doing lesbian shit. So he actually takes one in the sleeping bag and beats the other one with them. So he kills them both by beating them to death. Even though it's a virtual reality kill, it's cool. So number 3 for the worst Jason movies ever are Jason X. Number 2 on our list is Friday the 13th, Jason Goes to Hell. This one is about the secret of Jason, like how he can do whatever the shit he does, the supernatural shit, how it seems he has powers. It says how his evil is revealed. It's up to the last remaining descendant of the Voorhees family to stop Jason before he becomes immortal and unstoppable. Is this the final battle to end Jason's reign of terror forever? No. This one sucks so bad. I was actually living with my grandmother in Jersey City in Duncan Projects when this came out. My cousin and I went to go see it on opening night. As we were waiting to go in, people who just seen it were coming out, and they were saying that Freddy's claw grabbed Jason's mask at the end. We were like, bullshit. I didn't want to believe it, but I was waiting for it the whole movie. This one does have a cameo by Freddy Krueger's glove at the end, so they weren't lying. And it does explore, like I said, why Jason could come back. He seems unstoppable, supernatural, what have you. It sucks because the latest Friday the 13th film that was going to be made, like the latest one. Actually, I already said that. But the latest, it sucks because, all right, 3, 2, 1. It sucks because the latest Friday the 13th film that was going to be made was really going to explore Jason's supernatural powers, his childhood, his father Elijah, what have you. But that movie and a lot of horror movies got stopped because the Ring remake did so shitty in the fucking movie theater. But now since It 1 and 2 and the Halloween 2018 did so well, we will be getting a new Jason film, but it's not going to be that script, which is horrible. But anyway, this one did suck for me because Jason is legit only in the movie for a few minutes. He's in it right at the very beginning and right at the very end. The rest of the movie, he is legit body hopping from person to person, trying to kill a family member in his bloodline who legit is a fucking baby, like an infant baby in a crib. There's a Jason dog bounty hunter type of character in this movie, and it also stars a character named Ryan. There was a TV show named Friday the 13th. It has nothing to do with the Friday the 13th series. It's about a people who own an antique shop and work there, and they actually, for a living, go out and find these cursed items. These cursed items kill people, so they got to get them from the people and bring them back to the shop so they don't hurt anybody. But a guy, Ryan, in that TV show is actually the hero of this movie. But the movie's just so fucking dumb. There are some good kills in it though. He does smash a medical worker's face through a grated autopsy table. So there's an autopsy table in a hospital with grates at the bottom. He takes his face, he smashes it through the grates. You can see it all busting through. It's fucking pretty nasty. Then he takes a probe and puts it through the back of his head. You know, to add insult to injury. In the unrated version, a couple is actually being intimate with each other. A woman is on top of her man. Jason stabs through the fucking side of the tent with a signpost. He goes right in her body. He rips it up through the top of her body and literally just splits her in half. It's fucking insane. But remember, that's only on the unrated version. So that's a number 2 worst Friday the 13th movie is Jason Goes to Hell. Now, the number 1 movie on this list, the Friday the 13th movie that I think is the worst, that I absolutely hate the fucking most, and I wish it was never even made. And that's pretty bad to say from some of the ones I just named. But it is Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. Now, listen to this. After Jason Voorhees was chained to the bottom of Crystal Lake by Tommy Jarvis, a young telekinetic girl known as Tina Shepard accidentally killed her father with her powers at Crystal Lake. Years later, her and her mother return to Crystal Lake, where Tina's doctor tries to manipulate her powers for his own evil plans. Tina then tries to resurrect her father, but she accidentally awakens Jason instead. Now it's up to Tina to use her powers to stop Jason. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, really? It's so ridiculous and it's so fucking dumb. Trust me. Like I said, a lot of entries in this series are dumb, but this is the fucking worst. What is it, Jean Grey from the X-Men versus Jason? Like, get the fuck out of here. The story is lame, the ending is lame. It's the absolute biggest piece of shit. Others will disagree, though. This edition did have a huge cult following. Not over here, though. Her powers are dumb. The characters are dumb. And I don't care if you can move things with your mind or you can't. If you throw a lamp with your mind, it's not phasing Jason. In this movie, it actually does. It does have a whole house full of partying teens next door, like Part 2 did, but that's really all this entry did have going for it. The more victims to me are the better, though. I love when a horror movie has a big cast, because you know, if it's well done, only 1 or 2 of them are going to make it out of there alive. I hate it when a horror movie has 4 stars in it, and because you know 2 are going to fucking live, if not 1 of them. You're lucky if a cop or a therapist pops up in a movie so you can have an extra kill. Horror movies with small casts are the fucking worst. They're usually boring as fuck. Anyway, with the house full of teens next door, it still couldn't even save this movie. This movie's a big piece of shit. So if you actually want to see Jason get lamps thrown out of him with a girl's mind and just see like chains or fucking plants wrap around Jason because she's saying she could do so with her head, definitely waste your fucking time and watch this movie. This movie is so horrible, I don't even want to talk about it anymore. Some of the kills, this movie does at least have one of the most favorite kills in the Friday the 13th series. How I told about Jason beating those virtual reality girls before in the sleeping bag. This was the original and this was real. There's actually a scene where Jason pulls a woman out of her tent in her sleeping bag and he then proceeds to beat her against a tree until she's dead. People absolutely fucking love this, and it is. It's one of the best kills in horror. And also, he then kills a man with a weed whacker, but it's not a regular weed whacker. This is like an industrial fucking weed whacker. It's got an actually circular saw blade at the end of it, and it looks like a weed whacker with one of those on it, and he fucks the guy up. But this movie is just absolute fucking horrible. It definitely made the number 1 on our top 5 worst, Friday the 13th films in history. And just a real quick note, even though I say these are the worst and they are on my worst list, they definitely can be a lot of fun. I'm a huge fan and I have a guilty pleasure for Jason Takes Manhattan, Jason vs. Freddy. They're guilty pleasures, like I said, but I can't justify putting them on the list as any higher because they're just so bad. But anyway, guys, I'm always stuttering. I do my best. I'm not a professional. I just want to get this out there because I love you guys and I love doing it. But I hope you enjoyed this video also. Like I said, we do have Halloween ones coming out. We got Christmas one. We got Horror Christmas one. We got wrestling coming up. We got Haunted Houses. So this is definitely your channel. Like, share, and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back later this week with podcasts and more YouTube videos. Remember, we're the AEW Insider on Facebook and YouTube. The AEW Insider 1 on Twitter. I hope you really loved our Friday the 13th list. And we'll see you guys very soon. Ciao, peeps.